The Russian phrase "Священника уже начали пытать" translates to "They have already started torturing the priest," or more literally, "The priest has already begun to be tortured." Here's a quick breakdown. Священника, the priest, in the accusative case, meaning he's the object of the action, уже, already, начали, started, began, past tense, plural, referring to they, пытать, to torture. The Russian phrase "Вы украли мою лошадь" means "you stole my horse" in English. Here's a breakdown. Вы, you, formal or plural. Украли, stole, past tense, plural or formal you. Мою, my, feminine accusative form. Лошадь, horse. So the literal translation is "you have stolen my horse." The Russian phrase "Когда из-за деревьев вышел неизвестный" translates to "when a stranger came out from behind the trees," or more literally, when an unknown person came out from behind the trees. Let's break it down. Когда, when, из-за деревьев, from behind the trees. Из-за, from behind. Деревьев, plural genitive of дерево. Вышел, came out, walked out, masculine. Неизвестный, unknown person, stranger, mysterious man. So, it sets a scene, something like, open quote, "It was getting dark when a stranger came out from behind the trees." Close quote. Would you like me to help you translate? The Russian phrase "спокойно заявил он" translates to "he said calmly" or "he stated calmly" in English. Here's the breakdown. Спокойно, quietly, in a composed manner. Заявил, stated, declared, said, past tense, masculine form of заявить, он, he. So the full phrase literally means, open quote, "he calmly stated," or "he said in a calm voice." The Russian phrase "все пятеро обернулись" means all five turned around. Let's break it down. Все, all, пятеро, five people, a collective numeral used for people or animate beings. Обернулись, turned around, past tense, plural, reflexive verb. So it describes a moment. The Russian phrase "молодой священник обмяк в своих путах" translates to "the young priest went limp in his bonds," or "the young priest went slack in his fetters." Let's break it down. Молодой священник, young priest. Обмяк, went limp, slumped, or lost strength. В своих путах, in his bonds or in his fetters, referring to being tied up or restrained. So the sentence vividly describes a scene where The Russian phrase "глядя припухшими глазами на незнакомца" translates to "looking at the stranger with swollen eyes." Let's break it down. Глядя, looking, the gerund form of глядеть, to look. Припухшими глазами, with swollen eyes. Припухшими equals swollen in instrumental plural form, agreeing with глазами, eyes. На незнакомца, at the stranger. Незнакомца, strained form. So the whole phrase paints an image of someone. The Russian phrase "тот был высок" translates to "that one was tall" in English. Here's a breakdown. Тот, that one, masculine form. Был, was, past tense of to be. Высок, tall, short form adjective, masculine. So it literally means that man was tall. The Russian phrase "плечист и закутан в черный кожаный плащ" translates to broad-shouldered and wrapped in a black leather cloak. Let's break it down. Плечист means broad-shouldered. И means and. Закутан means wrapped or cloaked. В черный кожаный плащ means in a black leather cloak. So it describes someone physically imposed. The Russian phrase "ну так где же она" translates to "so where is she then?" or "well, where is she" in English. Here's a breakdown. "Ну, well" adds emphasis or impatience. Так, so or then, can also intensify the question. Где, where's a particle that adds emotional emphasis, like then or after all. Она, she. So depending on tone, it could sound curious, well, where is she? Impatient or frustrated, so where is she then? Would you like me to The Russian phrase "осведомился он" translates to he inquired or he asked to find out in English. Let's break it down. Осведомился is the past tense masculine singular of the verb осведомиться, which means to inquire, to ask, or to find out by asking. Он means he. So literally, осведомился он equals he inquired, he asked about something. It's a somewhat formal or literary way to say it. You'd more commonly The phrase "лошадь принадлежит тому" is Russian and translates literally to "the horse belongs to the one." However, it feels incomplete because тому dative case of tот, meaning that one or the one, usually requires clarification, like the one who or that person. For example, "Лошадь принадлежит тому мужчине", the horse belongs to that man. "Лошадь принадлежит тому, кто выиграл соревнование", the horse belongs to the one who won the competition. So, as it stands, your phrase is grammatically correct but unfinished. It's pointing to someone but doesn't say exactly who. The phrase "кто на ней ездит" is Russian and literally translates to "who rides it" or "who drives it", depending on the context. Breaking it down, кто, who, на ней on it, feminine noun, referring to some object like a bike, horse, car, etc. Ездит, rides, drives, goes on. The comma suggests this is part of a larger sentence, like a relative clause. Open quote, "I don't know the car, who drives it?" Я не знаю машину, кто на ней ездит. Close quote. If you want, I can The Russian sentence «Появление незнакомца поначалу вызвало у него страх» translates to English as "the appearance of a stranger initially caused him fear." Breaking it down, «Появление незнакомца», the appearance of a stranger, поначалу, at first, or initially, вызвало у него страх, caused him fear. So the sentence is describing that when the stranger appeared, the person felt scared at first. If you want, I can also explain the Russian phrase «следовало предположить» literally translates to "it should have been assumed" or "one should have supposed, expected" in English. It's often used in contexts like to indicate something was predictable or could have been anticipated. Следовало предположить, что он опоздает. It should have been expected that he would be late. Sometimes it's used in a slightly ironic or critical tone, implying that the outcome was. The Russian phrase «что за пришельцем из леса выйдут еще несколько человек» is a bit awkward and seems slightly ungrammatical or incomplete, but I can break it down. Что за, literally what kind of, or what is this? Пришельцем, instrumental case of пришельце, meaning alien, stranger, or foreigner, so as an alien stranger. Из леса, from the forest. Выйдут, will come out or will exit, future tense plural. Еще несколько человек, a few more people. Putting it together, a rough translation would be, open quote, "What kind of alien stranger from the forest will a few more people come out as?" Close quote. Or more naturally in English, it might mean, open quote, "What kind of stranger will emerge from the forest along with a few more people?" Close quote. The sentence is a bit clunky in Russian and might be from a literal translation, a poem, or a story. The word пришельцем in instrumental case suggests in the role of an alien stranger, which makes it slightly harder to render smoothly. If you want, I can rewrite it in fluent. The Russian phrase «вглядевшись в окутанный сумерками лес» can be translated into English as having gazed into the forest shrouded in twilight, or more literally, having looked closely into the forest enveloped in twilight. Breaking it down, «вглядевшись», having looked closely, having gazed, from the verb «вглядеться», meaning to peer or look intently, «в», into, окутанный, shrouded, enveloped, wrapped, сумерками, twilight, dusk, лес, forest. The phrase gives a very poetic atmospheric sense, like someone is peering into a mysterious, dimly lit forest. If you want, I can suggest a few more natural literary English versions that capture the mood. Do you want me to do that? The phrase «что незнакомец один» in Russian literally translates to that stranger alone, or that there is only one stranger. However, it's not a complete sentence on its own. It seems like it's part of a larger sentence because «что» usually means that or what, and introduces a clause. For example, «Я видел, что незнакомец один». I saw that the stranger was alone. «Меня удивило, что незнакомец один». I was surprised that the stranger was alone. Without more context, it's just a fragment, that the stranger is alone, or that there is only one stranger. The Russian word sumashedshi literally translates to crazy in English. Sumashedshi, crazy, insane, mad. The question mark makes it, are you crazy or crazy, depending on context. It's often used informally to express disbelief or shock at something someone said or did. If you want, I can also explain the different nuances of sumashedshi in Russian. The phrase «tem luche» is Russian and translates literally to all the better or even better in English. It's usually used in a context where something is seen as a positive outcome, often in response to news or a situation. For example, A. I finished the project earlier than expected. B. Tem luche, all the better. It's a concise way to express approval or that a situation is favorable. If you want, I can also explain the subtle nuance between nam, tem luche, and just saying хорошо in Russian, it's a bit more expressive. Do you want me to? The phrase «священник оказался плохой забавой» literally translates from Russian as the priest turned out to be a bad amusement, or the priest turned out to be a poor source of entertainment. Breaking it down, священник, priest, оказался, turned out, proved to be, плохой equals bad, poor, забавой equals amusement, fun, or entertainment. Contextually, it's usually used in a figurative or ironic sense, suggesting that someone expected the priest to be amusing. The phrase «от боли он только скрипел зубами» translates from Russian to English as «from the pain, he only ground his teeth». Breaking it down, «от боли» from the pain, «он» he, «только» он just, скрипел зубами gritted or ground his teeth. So it describes someone experiencing pain but not crying out or showing it. He just grits his teeth. If you want, I can. The Russian phrase «не дергался и не молил о пощаде» literally translates to, open quote, did not struggle and did not beg for mercy, close quote. Breaking it down, «не дергался», did not struggle, did not flinch, did not resist, and «не молил о пощаде», did not beg for mercy, or did not plead for leniency. Contextually, it describes someone who remained calm or stoic in a dangerous or threatening situation, showing bravery or resignation. If you want, the Russian sentence «авось этот будет петь веселее» can be translated as hopefully this one will sing more cheerfully, or maybe this one will sing more cheerfully. Breaking it down, avos expresses hope or a lucky guess, like hopefully, maybe, or let's hope. Этот, this one, referring to a person or thing. Будет петь, will sing. Веселее, more cheerfully, or happier, joyfully. So it's someone expressing hope that a particular person or thing, probably a singer, will sing in a more cheerful